Hello, physics students. I wanted to give you just a brief kind of tutorial or refresher about independent versus dependent variables. I know it's something you learned before, so this will be real quick and brief, hopefully. But Learning Goal 1.1 is directly related to being able to identify independent and dependent variables correctly if you're given an example, but also being able to assign them correctly like you've been doing with the Noodle Marble Lab. So when you are looking at a problem where one variable is affecting another, it's really important to identify that independent and dependent variable. So here are some ways to think about, in general, the independent and the dependent variable. The independent is the one that you have control over. You make a decision up front about how you are going to set up your independent variables. Now, in our case, you had to set up at least 5 different ones to test. The other way to help identify independent variable is it's the one that you think will affect the dependent variable. So again, it's something that you make a decision of up front. It's a thing you have a question about, and you manipulate it. The dependent variable then is the result that you're measuring. It's the effect that you're trying to find that the independent variable has. So it's the measurement that you take, the data that you collect. It's the dependent variable. So here's a quick example about a group of college students. We're given a short course in speed reading. The instructor was curious if a monetary incentive would influence performance on a reading test taken at the end of the course. Half the students were offered $5 for obtaining a certain level of performance on the test, and the other half were not offered the money. So in this case, the thing that this instructor has control over, manipulating, wants to see if it has an effect, is this monetary incentive. Oops. So the $5, if that has an effect or not. The dependent variable then, the result that's going to be documented is going to be this test score. Don't know that ahead of time, that's the effect that's going to be measured. Now, the other way to help you distinguish what your independent and dependent variable is when you set up your data table, especially with our scenario, we needed a 5x5 data collection scenario. So you needed 5 trials, 5 different independent variables to test, so that in the end you have 5 points on your graph. That was the whole point of doing that. And so the thing that you put in this column is going to be your independent variable, because you make a decision up front what these numbers will be, what these measurements will be. And all of this trial data is the thing that you don't know up front. It's the results that you're measuring, the data you're collecting. This would be the dependent variable. What you decide up front to test is your independent variable. And again, all of this data that you have to record as you work is your dependent variable. So what I'm hoping is this example, this one that I just ran through, and these kind of general ways to think about it are going to help you be able to correctly identify the independent and dependent variables